of the Board of Selectmen on Wednesday, May 8th at 6 p.m. And the first item on the agenda is the Woodbridge Board of Education, Superintendent Dr. Stella. Good evening, Dr. Stella.
Well, good evening.
Good evening. Thank you.
It's a pleasure to meet with the Board of Selectmen, and thank you again for the opportunity for coming each month. I was very pleased to see, I'm sure you all saw the New Haven edition of Living, and a nice article on Woodbridge, and also our Teacher of the Year was highlighted there. So we're proud. It's very appropriate because this week is Teacher Appreciation Day and Teacher and Staff Appreciation Week. Today is Nurse Appreciation Day. So we've had a series of lunches and breakfasts and things like that for our teachers. Our best resource, I always say our best resources at Beecher Road School are human resources, and that's our teachers and staff. I don't know if there's a superintendent's appreciation day. I don't think so.
No lawyers appreciation day.
Every day is superintendent appreciation.
Not lawyers.
No appreciation.
But what I'd like to share with you
It's
a few things. Beecher Road School, as you know, is a very unique school in a very positive way. And what are some of the unique features? Well, the arts constantly come alive in so many different ways. Music, art, but also in drama. And this week, actually tomorrow and Friday, there will be a play of Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, and it rivals any production on Broadway. Wait till you see the scenery. The scenery is unbelievable. The staff members that are working are very highly talented people, and we have 30, 40 children on stage at the same time. We have a first grader that is has a lead role. So it's part of that process where we try to connect pre-K to 12, because we know our high school really excels with the arts and our middle school does too. So if you're interested, Friday night there'll be standing room only. I think it's at 6:30, but here's a little secret. There's a dress rehearsal tomorrow at 4:30, which I'll be at. So if you want to come in, Joe, I'll have orchestra seats for you if you want. Come and join us. I think you'll enjoy it very, very much. Another unique feature is that there's a swimming program at Beecher Road School, and a wonderful pool for the whole town, for all the citizens. And our children start in first grade. And you know, we had a champion Olympic swimmer who came back and visited recently with us. But every child is almost guaranteed by the time they leave 6th grade, they'll have a great awareness of what it takes for lifetime wellness through swimming, and what it means to be have good habits of swimming. This past Friday, the 5th and 6th grade, the swimming program ended for the year in the culminating activity called the Swimming Olympics. And all of our 5th and 6th graders were in the water, every one of them swimming, all the different types of strokes. Every child, whether it was a physically special needs child or an advanced swimmer. And the emphasis was not on competition, but on really developing one's skills, and everyone swam. I had my tie and jacket on. I felt like jumping, but I didn't. I held off. So those are two things that I wanted to share with you. We also had a day of remembrance, patriotic day of remembrance for the victims of the Boston bombing, and also a focus on patriotism. And that was initiated, it was a school-wide event, but initiated by a class of 5th graders who wrote persuasive letters. Our children are very persuasive, and they persuaded the administration and the classes throughout the school to get behind this idea. Our kindergarten children too came up with persuasive letters too, and they focused on why can't we have swings in our kindergarten playground. And some of the reasons were that every child from 1st grade to 6th grade have swings, and so on and so on. So that's part of our literacy program. But what I'd like to say is that I'm very pleased with the movement that is being made academically. We're also proud of the programs to promote social, emotional welfare, and physical welfare of our children. Spring is here. We're enjoying the 43 acres. What a wonderful gift that is to the children and the town. It's a wildlife preserve. My concern, and it's not a new one, I know Shure's concern too, is for the physical facilities. And I'm reminded about it by several things. You know, as you know, the building is a series of interconnecting structures, and it's a building that never sleeps. It's crying out in pain for help. Each season brings its own unique problems. The winter time, we worry about which sections we're going to have heating or not, and which things to prepare, and, the miles of piping and so on. This season and the summer, we worry about the air quality. Now, as a superintendent, as far as priorities, I want to be involved with educational issues in the classroom, interacting with teachers, ongoing conversation. More and more of my time is taken up with working with my buildings facilitator, business manager, on building problems. As an example, and I don't say this to complain because you're aware of this here, and we're grateful for the town. You've been very, very conscious of this here. But our A wing is one of the oldest wings. The roof can't be repaired. There's patch upon patch. There are moisture problems. I get complaints from parents, and we're trying to address it, but it's putting our finger in the dike. We had our custodial team come over the weekend to bleach the ceilings, to do all kinds of things. We had a panel outside that had to be extensive repair work was done on the roof. During the April vacation, that's when the custodial team bleached and painted the ceilings. Lock boxes have been installed over the overhead exhaust fans to prohibit staff from turning fans off. And there's a reason for why they try to turn the fans off. Our ventilators we're concerned about. They need cleaning. We formed a Tools for School committee consisting of staff members, administrators, consultant from our health department, to actually go around to every classroom to see what we could do to improve the quality of air, the quality of the building. And they come across one thing after another. Our ventilators, for example, need cleaning, and we know it. We're afraid to have them cleaned because they're so old, though they're afraid we can't get them going again. So I mentioned this here not so much again as a complaint, but my concern and hope that we can make this a high priority as we move forward, because the building belongs to the children and the school community, but also the town. It's used so much, and the town has been so very conscientious with this here in forming a larger building committee of over 20 generous citizens, and then a smaller committee, and these people are very talented. We've had architects, engineers, contractors on it, and they've spent 2 years really coming up with all kinds of ideas, looking for ways that will benefit the entire town. We've had architectural firms come in, we've had consultants come in, right and left, and it's a common language that we can get more with less now, and that work has to be done, or less for more later. The building ranks in the bottom 20% of school buildings throughout the country as far as the loss of heat that takes place too. So I end by saying thank you for all you're doing with that, and you have our complete cooperation. I know I speak for the Board of Ed in moving forward in any direction that you think is the right direction.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Moving on, hello. Michael Calla, permission to use the gazebo area for the Amity Wrestling Team fundraiser. You have in your packet some data, and we had some questions. I hope you got the...
Yes, I did.
Yeah, all the questions, and okay, we'll go forward. So, floor is yours.
Thank you very much for giving me this opportunity to meet with you and talk about the opportunity for not only the wrestling team, but the community. My intent is more for the team and the community. It's obviously a fundraising idea to help the team, but I don't think it would be much of a fundraiser rather than to get more of the youth involved in building the wrestling program. I'm really interested in that. I'm a father of 5. All 5 of my kids wrestle. Dr. Marion is here. He's coached all of my kids. Hopefully he sticks around for my 9-year-old, but I don't think so. So that's really the interest in doing this. I mean, I think it would be a good idea to get, other towns have done it. I thought of the idea from seeing it Back to the Future in Orange. It would be appropriate movie, wrestling-based movie. Here Comes the Boom with Kevin James myths, and then it would be either Despicable Me or something like that. I'd only ask for one night. In my initial email, I was talking about multiple nights. I was thinking about Friday, June 28th. It's the last week of school. Get kids interested in it. Get families interested. One of the questions that was asked of me was the insurance. We could get a rider through the school to cover that, so that would be taken care of. With regards to if we wanted to serve food, I followed up with Quinnipiac. I have an application to get a license. That's not a problem at all. It's $35. I have enough time to get the license before that selected date, if you allow us to have this opportunity. And then there was a question about cleanup. I heard the town could help us with that, but we have enough parents. I have enough kids that can help me do it personally, that can help me do it and clean up in the area. And I had mentioned something about a 50-50, but I would totally disregard that. I don't want to go down that road.
It's quite difficult, having done it.
Yeah, I don't want to do that.
It's a big process.
No, I
It
don't
used to
wanna do
be easier and.
So my intention here is just to get kids interested in wrestling, build our program, and I think it would be a great idea for the community to have families watch a movie on the green. It's a
How
good
many people
opportunity.
do you think would attend? Yeah, on a good, thinking positively.
I think it's 50 people.
Oh, okay.
I'm not sure.
Right.
I'm not really sure. So it's the first time that I've ever heard of it. I know New Haven used to put movies on the green. I know Orange does Back to the Future type dates where it's like drive-in type stuff. I mean, I don't know to tell you.
And
But
the
I-
date is available, right?
We need a motion?
Yeah, does anyone, first of all, I'll turn it over to the board members if you have any questions.
I think it's a great
or,
idea, and if you
yeah.
can raise some funds that way, that'd be great. I mean, I have no problem with it.
Okay.
The only issue would be the insurance, and you've got that taken care of,
Right,
so I don't
just
see
get
an
that
issue.
to Tony, right?
Mhm,
Yeah.
yeah. Or either Jerry shall afford it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm actually curious, what size screen are we talking about? I mean, how big is this?
So I'd have to rent the screen, and it would be, so one screen that I looked into was 6x8, and I
Nice,
probably
yeah.
need a bigger screen than
Right,
that.
right, and what's your electricity source on the green? Where are you gonna pull this together? I know it's a good question.
That's a good question.
I only ask good questions.
There is
I'll give you
There is electricity.
a
Yeah,
plus.
it's here.
There is electricity in the gazebo itself.
Okay.
Okay, so you have,
Thank you.
so that sort of tells you how you have to orient it?
Yeah.
Right.
Right? And are you bringing in a professional food vendor for this, or are you gonna be grilling, or how's that gonna work?
We have we have people on the team that have equipment like a hot dog vending machine and a popcorn
Okay,
popcorn
okay.
machine.
So that doesn't present any
So-
problem? in
Gotta
terms
have
of-
popcorn.
Yeah. So the coaches on our team are really dedicated, hardworking.
Uh-huh.
They do a lot of that stuff as a job as well, a side job.
All right.
Thank you.
Lawrence?
Yeah, I have two things. First, conceptually, I think it's a terrific idea, and it has come up from time to time among members of the Recreation Commission as an idea, as a way to expand or build upon the concert series that it administers. But I have this practically. June 28th is just a week after the solstice, and so we're the land of the midnight sun.
So it
Almost.
doesn't get dark until 9 o'clock.
And so I just popped into my head, so I thought I'd share.
So I was thinking about that a lot. So I think the idea of, so if I did it from 6 to 10 o'clock, that's what I would ask for. So I think the idea of watching a movie outside at 6 o'clock, I don't, like, if it's Despicable Me, that's the first movie that goes up. I think the kids would love the idea of being on the green, watching a movie.
Yeah, I'm not sure they'd see it. That's my point.
So I'd have to test it out, but otherwise I'd have to start it at 8 o'clock.
Yeah.
And then it would be one movie, it wouldn't be two movies. It'd be one movie and it would be Here Comes the Boom, which is PG.
This doesn't involve flamingos, does it?
No. It's a good idea.
Have you been flogged?
I
good
have
idea.
not been flocked, but all my neighbors have been flocked.
No, the Russells haven't done that yet.
But I like the idea, and again, it's not, it's consistent with what has already been discussed at the Recreation Commission. So you'll be the
guy?
They're all
Town
over-
movie guy.
They're all over the place, the flamingos.
I know. So if we need a motion, I'd make a motion to allow it.
What, is anything else you think we need, Jerry, in terms of legal?
No, just
Okay.
the insurance made
Right.
properly to the town, and Tony
Okay.
can take care of that.
And the
Okay.
cleanup, obviously.
Obviously.
Okay, Tom,
I make a motion, we allow it.
Second.
Okay.
all in favor?
All-
Okay, opposed? It's unanimous.
Thank you very much. I
Thank
really
you.
appreciate the opportunity.
Good to see you
All right,
guys.
so if you'll get in
Might
touch
even
with
show up.
me
Yes, sir.
a week beforehand,
Absolutely.
I'll arrange a meeting with the maintenance folks so that you'll know where everything is over there.
Absolutely. Thank you very much. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
What can we say now? Thank you for coming. And the next item on the agenda is use of town property for a wedding, August 3rd. Is she coming? Yes, they were coming. Okay, well, we'll hold off and keep going, okay? And item 4, Public Works Garage Contracts, Mr. Gilbertson and Mr. Sorensen.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
We have a couple of things here we'd like to present to you guys. I think you have one set of paperwork that Terry's going to talk to you now about, which is the design professionals. Do you have that paper?
Just
Yeah.
this letter day.
Okay. And then there's going to be, after we talk about this, we have another thing that we'd like to bring up and add to this. I'll give you this copy now so you can look at it. And
So one of the many tasks that are left undone with the Public Works project is that we have 2 contracts that are presently being reviewed by town council. One for the architectural aspect of the construction administration, and secondly, the civil engineering portion of the construction administration. These numbers that are on these contracts are within our budget,
Yep.
provided for in our budget, and we would ask that if you could please delegate the signing to your first selectman as soon as town council. They are in the form suitable to the town council.
We should have that done by tomorrow, Friday, the latest, and then Beth, if you authorize it, Beth can sign it once we have it finalized.
are we going to need a motion for that?
Yes. Want to make a motion?
So I'd like to entertain a motion.
I'll make that motion.
And how it should be worded exactly.
Just suggested that upon completion of the review and agreement on the contracts with Rothmore and Martinez and Couch, the board authorizes first select woman Heller to execute those documents.
Second.
To the town.
Okay, thank you, Jerry. New to this.
There has there's an additional memo that we just handed out to you that came up.
Wait, we have to vote on the motion. Sorry, it's okay. I just thought maybe you were commenting on that, so
No.
we're going to vote. Okay. Motion made and seconded. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Unanimous. Okay.
Thank you.
Now you're on.
There's an additional item that this morning at 9 o'clock, we held our internal project kickoff meeting. We assembled a number of people, town employees in this room and assigned tasks to each one of them. And we've had even results yet today based on that kickoff meeting. If you look in their parking lot, what we know to describe as the Jerry Shaw parking lot is the secondary parking lot beyond the main parking lot of Town Hall. The police department had been storing a number of surplus equipment and other detainees from the program, and they have now, at our request, moved that equipment. And we were all saying this afternoon that if we known it was just ready to be asked for, they could do that fast. We would have asked for that a long time ago. But there's a couple of issues that have come up. think that these storage trailers should go to Beecher and the lower parking lot. But that's a big conversation that we need to have with Beecher to make sure that that location is correct, and it doesn't really, that conversation doesn't fit with the time schedule of the project. So we would like to have your permission.
We're gonna send you some pictures now. some more.
There's 14 maps, so you each can have a map, and then we'll have to share 2 sets of photographs. The Alegi playing soccer fields has a parking lot that we're all familiar with. It has a maintenance shed that we're familiar with. And then there's a road up a road to a treed area.
And you guys, and then-
And in that treed area,
And then I'm gonna pass it over to Joe.
we would like to store on a temporary basis the 2 40-foot storage shredders for recreation and the 1 20-foot recreation area that's outside. And when I took these photographs this afternoon, I was astonished to learn that there's already a storage trailer there. And I presume it must have something to do with recreation. But that's kind of so what we're really asking is that if it's okay with you guys for us to store these storage trailers, 2 additional storage trailers, large ones and 2 small ones, to
No,
benefit.
1 small and 2 large.
Okay. At the Alegi field, I believe that we can tuck them away behind a treed area on 2 different sides, so that I don't think they'll be visible from almost anywhere.
Well, how long are they gonna be there?
The term of the project, but if we could, we're trying to, on a short-term basis, we need to, our biggest thing is for us to get the storm water, so it goes drains properly, we have to move 3 trailers. And for us to move 3 trailers, we gotta empty them first, because you can't, these are on-the-ground trailers, these do not have wheels, so you have to call the container company, but they don't pull trailers if they're full, they have to be empty now. So we'd have to arrange to have them emptied out, which we've made arrangements to empty them out, and then those would be put over to the Alegi fields, and then we put material back into them.
The worst case scenario would be 18 months. I believe that if the people who are advocating that they belong, the recreational program that equipment serves apparently is conducted in the summer at Beecher. And there are some people involved in this program that think that they should be there.
Well, didn't they just get rid of the trailers up down there?
A couple of years ago, they were in the parking area.
Yeah, the lower
which they
parking
have to
lot.
use. There's gonna be some discussion with the administration of putting it in another area. Would that work for that? So there's gonna be some discussion.
You are correct, and these are the trailers that are now right in the way of this public works project.
So,
What
Right,
happens
so-
after
so
18
my-
months? Where are they gonna go?
There's some, after we complete the work, there's some space
Right,
on that
okay.
lower level if we had to bring them back,
So but this is also the area where we approved the playground, is that right? It's the same area?
Yep.
So if the playground folks got the funds to build their playground, they'd be out of luck. And then secondly, I guess more importantly, is I think we have a liability issue tucking 4 trailers back in the woods in an area where you have a lot of heavy traffic for kids. And I guess it'd be an attractive nuisance. You have kids maybe climbing on the trailers, between the trailers. I know, obviously we have to do.
They wouldn't be between the trails, because they're gonna be side by side, so there's gonna be room to get near them.
Right.
But they're gonna be on the ground and they will be locked, just like that is there, so. I mean, anything that you have object out there, kids are gonna go around it, but I don't think they're gonna be climbing on them, I really don't, but that's a good point.
so, Chris, you said you've made arrangements to empty these trailers.
Well, we've discussed it today, that was in
With
our
the
discussion.
recreation
Yes,
department.
they were
Yes,
here this
they were here.
morning, yes.
Because my thought is, and Terry, I think you're right, because I think I'm right,
Yeah,
that the equipment is part of the summer rec
that is
program
correct.
at Beecher, and so my thought is, boy, they should somehow get onto that property to make it simpler for
Well,
everyone.
that,
But
I'm
so
sorry.
anyway, so my question is, to what extent have you discussed that with the recreation department?
We discussed today with the recreation department, that, just what you said.
Right.
But it's the Board of Education, the property there. I have a meeting tomorrow with Dr. Stella at 9:30 and the finance director there. We're gonna go talk about that and talk about the location, which we've thought that would be a good location and would be out of everyone's way in the situation,
So is this then premature?
It is Plan B.
In case you don't do the recreation.
In case you don't do the Beecher
Recreation.
property?
Right.
So,
They still have to move. If you can't go to Beecher,
Right.
it still has to move.
We have to get them moved because
and what's the timetable in which you have to get tomorrow?
ASAP.
Monday.
Monday.
Next week.
Monday
Next
next
week.
week, yeah.
All right, so here's a question. Is the picture that, here, is the picture
Come
that you're
back to
passing
Sharon.
around, is this the existing trailer that you found to your surprise today? Page 2?
Page 2. Yep.
Let me see.
So we don't know whose that
And
is.
where on that map is that?
Joe, we don't know who that
Show
is.
Richard.
I know, I want you to show me. It doesn't look marked to me.
It's right there.
This would be
Right there.
coming
And
out.
that's
you
where
walk
you're
past-
proposing that the other ones go?
Yes, in this
Go
is
past
a
this.
hedgerow, and that's another hedgerow.
Where is it?
Okay, so, I don't know if you can see this, I'm gonna pass
See it.
this around. So this little red square represents the existing trailer that's there.
Yeah, it's right up the
That is
the
right where
road.
the
It's right there.
playground.
Past the shed, and then the road bends to the
So
tree
is this the
line.
back of it,
Yes.
in this picture?
Oh, no, that,
It's up in the corner
that,
Oh, I see, okay. It's clear as mud, you see that, you understand?
that's why I took a closer picture for you.
I gotcha, okay. You all saw this? So what about Tom's question?
With the field.
What if you have to go to Plan B and get the playground people?
I think that I would rather move things once, in my
Right.
vote, by the way. And if we can make arrangements with our school to, that we think that should be, to favor the recreation department, that's what we would prefer to do. Plan B is to put it here, and I think that clearly, if they come up with the money to build the playground, they would then have to move.
Well, how about this? And I know you guys have to take care of this, and I don't want to hinder that because you need to get them out of there.
Yeah.
Again, my concern is having them tucked away behind the trees.
Yeah.
But if you go up into the parking lot, go to the far left,
Yeah.
at the other end of the parking lot,
That-
there's room, I would think, just off the pavement to drop 4
You
trailers.
could slide them back there.
You
We were
could
just
slide 'em
trying to
right
put them
in.
out of sight, out of mind.
I don't want them, I'm comfortable having them in the woods, because you know kids are gonna run in there, their parents can be watching the kids play, and then the other kids are gonna go off and wander over there, and they're hidden away, and I think it's an easier hazard, people trying to break into them. If they're in the open, you know, and of course they're gonna be the people who don't wanna see them. But I think from a safety perspective, I would think it'd be better to have them parked on that piece of property, maybe to the left all the way back. And that's flat, it's cleared out from what I understand, last time I was up
It
there.
is, it is.
And I don't think we use that.
No.
And if we're not using it, I would think that'd be a good alternative.
Yeah.
And like I said, if I'll go with the majority of the board, but, you know, if you can't get them down to Beecher, I would suggest an alternate, because if the people from the playground do get the funding, I don't want to tell them they have to wait 18
Well,
months.
what if we did this? What if we approved your request, if I made a motion approving your request as a secondary plan, subject to other town requirements in the future as determined by the Board of Selectmen? So in other words, if we gave you
That's fair.
30 days notice and
That's fair.
said, you gotta get them out of here because now we have another need for that property,
That's right.
you'd have to do that. Does that sound, can we do it that way?
You do it that way, but they're gonna, the first priority is to get it at Beecher.
Right.
No, right, it's a
Says that-
secondary plan, I don't know.
Right, but
Why
you
don't
say-
that-
But how can I make the motion that
Say
they
in
move
the
it to
event
Beecher?
in the event you cannot locate the trailers at Beecher School,
That
then
we approve,
you approve permission to put them on the alleged property where they're agreed to, subject to the Board of Selectmen giving you 30 days notice to remove.
so moved.
But you're talking about behind the trees or off to the other side of the parking lot?
Well, that's what you gotta talk about.
So I don't know, Chris, if that's an option, or Terry, is that an option that you?
Either place works.
Either place works.
I'd prefer to have them in the
Okay.
open, that's my, but, you know, I'm not gonna.
That's fine, I don't have a
I
problem with
won't
that.
oppose you, I just think that, I think it'd be better from a
Then
liability perspective.
let's use
to have
Tom,
them in
we'll
the
put it
open.
over on the left-hand side, out in the open. Easier access for us, you know, people have, you know, we have to get in and out. And if we have to move them or whatever, it's easier to get in and out of.
But you're gonna have to shoehorn them in there.
Yeah.
Because it's not really wide enough.
Are both locations not visible from the street or from?
No, where they are now, they're just tucked in the back. You go up to the top of the road,
Yeah.
and then it's all grass, and it's pretty high, and there's a stone wall and trees that separate where the carnival used to be.
Oh, right.
And it gets muddy back there if it's,
Oh, yeah.
if it gets.
You know, I just don't feel like, I mean, if you think that's better, that's fine. I don't feel qualified to say one way or the other,
Just
so,
a thought.
yeah.
Okay. All right.
So,
We'll
That's
accept
the
that
motion.
addition, addendum. Okay.
So I'll second your motion.
Okay, thank you. All in favor? Aye.
So I just, under discussion, just,
Okay.
we're moving to the south side of the parking lot.
Is it south?
I guess it's, they know what I'm talking about.
I think what you
The
should-
left side as you come in.
Closer to Orange.
Exactly opposite what they
Closer to
are.
Orange.
Closer to your house.
Okay.
Then,
Okay. Okay.
then it's unanimous.
All right, thank you very much. Okay.
Thank
All
you.
right, so that's
Thank you.
part one.
Now we got part two now.
Okay.
There is another issue that has come up. We, and this is in your memo, that Chris wrote to you. The second issue involves the disposal of the clean fill that needs to be removed from Public Works. The way we were able to do the Public Works is that we went to the good ground. The good ground is basically where we were set up for our groundbreaking ceremony. And that's the location of the building, only about 12 feet directly down. And so all that fill has to be removed. And when struggling to meet our budget, we extracted from various contractors how much, the original program had them removing and had a lawful disposal of that fill elsewhere. And we inquired of our three lowest bidders. PDS responded and offered us $6,500 if we can identify a town-owned site to put this clean fill within 5 miles of the excavation. And we took their $6,500, by the way, and we've looked at several different sites. And we have another map. Do some more photographs, by the way, Chris.
Woodfield Road is by the south tower.
Yeah, at the cell phone site,
Cell towers.
there's a driveway cut. We're giving you a map that shows it. And I believe that a good amount of fill can be placed there, and won't affect any program. This will be a very big surprise, by the way, to the club. This is something we would have to talk with them about, and would do so before we did it. There's another spot. I don't think there's one solution for this fill. There's another spot, I believe, just off the driveway to Acorn Hill, which is a old sand and gravel pit. It's directly off of a road. I think that just like this spot, by the way, there's easy access, no damaging the things. And I think that if we needed another spot, there's also a spot at Acorn Hill. Let me hasten to assure you, however, that there are advocates who would like to use the fill at Acorn Hill to try to change your mind about the location of a future ball field, which you already have decided. And there isn't as much fill, and this would not enable that in any way. This would just be filling a hole at Acorn Hill.
Do you have an estimate of how many yards or how many trucks?
We don't have an estimate how many yards. I can tell you that the building is 234 feet long and 51 feet wide, and to get the proper excavation safety, we probably have to go another 20 we have been assured that there is absolutely, apparently, our public works operation generates a lot of solid materials. The millings, when we bring back and we reuse, street sweepings we bring back. We need an area there for the collection of brush before we do a yearly grinding, and we supply people mulch with that grinding of leaves and.
Terry, are we reusing this fill?
Pardon me?
Are we gonna be reusing this fill?
I don't think so.
And selling it, we've already sold it for $6,500, is that the idea?
Well,
Why can't we sell it?
we received it, we received $6,500 for taking our dirt and putting it on our property.
We got a credit. In other words,
Right, I understand.
they, originally what we said was you're gonna have to dig it out and take it all away and put it where you need to put it away.
Well, but this is not a if we're not reusing it, it's not a permanent solution. We're just gonna have piles of dirt.
I think that
Am I right?
the trick with fill is not to handle it twice, by the way. The spots that we have in,
Evidently, that's also the trick with containers.
Yeah, well,
It is some synergy.
Right, right.
a little merry-go-round with those, yes.
I would only recommend that we place fill in which we would not, in places that we would be able to leave it and it would do us some good.
And let it just be.
Right.
Well, if you've been over, just take, for example, I don't know if you've been over by the cell tower, took a look there, but there's
Not recently.
There's some photos, but really some of the area, even if we did some work over there and you needed to fill in the material, you
Yeah.
got it over there. It's out of the way, it's tucked away. It's really not gonna be like a big eyesore or anything to that nature. I think also we talked about Acorn Hill where they used to dig the dirt out there for sand years ago, and there's some low points in there. And if you brought the fill in there, we would grade it off and level it off, if we had to later on down the line, we could grade it off. But it's a good area to just to grade it off there as you go in there. I think, in the end, those were two viable spots that we had looked at as on the committee and talking about it.
So you're talking about on the Acorn extension, just to the left?
Just to the left there, you know how it sits down and there's
Yeah.
some deep depressions in there, stuff like that.
It just doesn't sound like this is well thought out.
I don't think there's enough room at Acorn Hill.
Well, not all of it, we're just talking portions of it. We can put some over there
Oh.
and over on Woodfield.
I don't think there's one solution.
Well, I'm sorry, I meant.
And what are the others?
Oh.
There's a mention
Yeah, it
of
says others. Yeah.
others.
Now, if we didn't take the $6,500, would it be up to the contractor to take that away? So we're doing this for $6,500.
Correct.
And he's gonna sell it,
He's gonna say, right.
I would think.
No, he's hauling-
Would you consider,
he's
is
putting it
that
on
a
our property.
possibility? Just say, okay,
If we-
let's go with the original contractor, we have too many problems locating a
We
location.
could do that. There's a slight problem, is that we've incorporated the $6,500 in our budget.
We would have to, we'd have to fund it,
We
so
have
to
to
speak.
fund it.
I might add, before we bought the country club, we owned 1,000 of our own acres of land. And I have to tell you that I'm astonished if we can't find a spot or two that can accept this fill to our advantage.
Well, I guess that's my concern, is we don't know what that is.
Well, we're discussing it right now, right? We're discussing the fact that off of Woodfield at the cell phone tower site, it goes to the right, you go to the left, and there's a spot for some fill. I don't think it's certainly not all of it.
I don't think there's a lot, right? A couple of dump trucks. I mean,
No, more than that. There's more than that there.
your triaxle dump type?
Yeah, there's more than that. But that's why we broke it into two spots.
I guess I'd feel better if I'd known you had spoken to the country club already and they're comfortable with it. And,
I think that we wouldn't do it until we do that, by the way. I mean, I don't think that we would, certainly at Acorn Hill.
but asking us to approve it on such an open-ended basis,
Right.
That's what I'm
I would also
concerned
like to
about.
know what the others are. Thinking we're gonna have piles in various places, or Are there are there just 2 sites being
We're
considered?
prepared to speak about 2 different sites. You know,
Okay.
we looked at and rejected, by the way, an area on Johnson Road at the former site of the, I guess it's the halfway house now. There's a small building, it's where the original club was.
Oh.
And Sonia and
Or the old tennis court
Oh,
there.
okay.
Former tennis courts. They removed some. And we rejected that site, because we don't think that the fill gives us any particular advantage as a town there. And it's a very visible spot. We've rejected, by the way, a leggy, because you have an approved 90-foot baseball diamond there that I believe will require some fill. But I think it's my advice to us all is that this is not the time to start bringing fill into the leggy until that project matures and starts. So we've rejected a number of sites that are candidates for fill, but you know that those sites are not yet ripe.
And what's
for
the
that fill.
time frame on this that you need?
Well, you know, the excavations will start soon. I mean, we are anxious to build this building. And it's set
Soon
2
meaning
weeks.
2 weeks? Okay.
2 weeks. The contractor thought he'd be doing it last week.
But we all know how contractors are.
So what's the feeling of the board on this?
My thought is to maybe, as we go through this process here, maybe if you guys want to go take a look at the sites, I mean, physically go take a look at them if you feel more comfortable, or leave the discretion up with the first selectman as to where we go through the sites and maybe do something like we're talking about now. I mean, give your feedback. If it doesn't go, if you're not happy with it, you know, you say to Beth, hey, look, you know.
We don't want to do anything without your
Totally,
permission.
no, I get that, totally,
Okay.
and I appreciate that.
But I also don't think that this is, you know, the big, you know, this is a bunch of dirt that needs to be placed wisely.
Right.
Yeah, my preference between the two, I wish there were other options, I guess, but between the two, my preference would be for Acorn Hill, because I think we should give Casper as much elbow room as we possibly can. And they haven't been approached. But anyway, that's my preference between these two.
We should be, who hasn't been approached?
The golf club.
Well,
The commission or the tenant.
Well, wouldn't really
You're not.
impact, I mean, it's, where it's gonna be is right up at Woodsville, right? Where
It's in the woods,
the
Yeah,
tower
I'm
is
sure
in the
they
woods.
use that section all that.
Kind of a mess back there anyway, you got a
Yeah.
bunch of trees and stuff down there.
They've been dumping stuff there for years. It's been
Yeah, I mean, I don't necessarily have as much of an issue with Woodfield Road as back there, as you don't really see it. I mean, actually, you'd probably clean it up a little bit to make room to get more fill in there, but I think you get pushback from the people on Acorn. I don't know. Again, it's something we gotta do.
Well, I guess that's my concern, is we sort of don't have a sense of what, you know, what.
And it's not gonna fill
What the
that
recipient-
space, like the people that you were saying, they want to push baseball back over there, so they're gonna say, well, you can fill up that hole. And I think that was part of the problem with initially with, it's gonna cost so much to fill that, but this isn't gonna solve that problem.
This
It's
is
only
not
gonna be a
gonna
drop
solve
in the
it, no.
bucket, so to speak.
And by the way, at the best case scenario at Acorn Hill, you will have either nothing or level. I mean, it won't rise.
It's not gonna rise,
There's
it'll be level.
a substantial depression there.
Exactly, right.
And this will rise.
Yeah.
I mean, we'll be seeing it.
Mhm. So, you know, I understand the sensitivity to the Acorn Hill sensitivities. However, they'll see the truck traffic, although we probably see a lot of truck traffic having to do with the transfer station now anyway. And it has a beginning and an end.
This is clean fill, right?
all clean. This soil's been so tested, most tested.
And is there any reason that
property
the
in all
Sorrel
of
Farm might want it?
I'm not familiar with any
Certainly.
fill requirements. for
Not
this.
topsoil, no, it's just-
It's Okay.
It's not top, it's even not structural fill.
I'm just trying to think about
Right, but
ways to think about
Massaro's
it.
not a bad idea because they got the back corner where baseball was talking about that's unusable for Massaro at this point in
Just
time.
wanted to reach out to 'em.
Maybe that fill would be good soil.
So maybe the way to approach this, Beth, is to sort of give you some discretion here to work with
Okay.
the committee to figure out, I mean, I'm very comfortable with that.
Okay. Thank you.
And I would make a motion to that effect, that no decision be made, that you work in consultation with the first selectman.
That's my
And any decision that's made is with
Okay.
the advice and consent, if you will, of the first selectman. Does that seem like
Okay.
the way?
Absolutely.
And I'll make sure I keep you all in the loop.
Well, because that way you can approach these alternatives and we get a level of comfort.
I mean, short of having the second meeting of the month, I mean, that's the best option.
Right. And short of putting it in my backyard,
Yep.
I think that's probably the best thing to do.
No, I already offered my back.
Okay.
What we can't do is place it in a place that has wetlands. but-
Gotcha.
So,
Gotcha. No,
without a
okay.
wetlands
Right.
permit, that's what.
Right. So moved.
So if that's your motion, I'll second it.
Any other comments? All in favor?
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much,
Thanks
guys.
for coming.
Thank you.
I was just asking, right?
Karen, do you want these back, these photos?
Well, we're going to go back to item 3, thank you. And I'll call on Nancy Klein to come up and let us know what you have in mind for a wedding on August 3rd.
Yes, correct.
Congratulations.
Thank you. You need me, Phil? Okay.
No. Okay.
Yeah. Second field.
Okay.
And this is... Right. The skating rink. Oh, yeah. All right.
So this is what we call it.
Right.
This is the field that he,
Right.
the third field that he rents.
Right.
Okay. So
Okay.
you can point it
Good.
out, the field that you've discussed.
Do you, okay, so, do you have a map?
No, now they don't have a,
Okay, well, I'll describe it. So I am Nancy Klein. I live at 14 Woodside Drive in Woodbridge. My daughter, Rebecca, only wants to get married in the field. And this has been such a big deal. She became engaged. She was proposed to in the field. I had a garden at the community gardens forever. I just gave it up. And so she was first going to have her wedding at Massaro Farm, but it didn't work out because she's having quite a few people. She's having 300 people. So, well, she's inviting 350. And
Wait, 351, 352. I mean,
I'm hoping.
I'm just saying.
Hoping,
Yeah, okay.
I'm hoping
250.
it's not that much, but I don't know. Anyway.
You just said that on TV, you realize that. So the word's out, folks, RSVP in the negative. Okay, we gotcha.
So she's very attached to this. So we called Keith Arnold, who rents the hayfield, and Keith is a wonderful person, and he brings me my manure every spring and every fall, and I have the greatest respect for him, and he wants to preserve that area. But he and my husband met 2 days ago. They drove down to that lower area, and there is an area. I don't know if you're familiar with the community gardens at all. The second garden
Right.
area. There is
Where the native
drive in-
plants are?
Pardon?
Where the native plants are?
Right where the native plants are. And there is a water spigot. So, and that's kind of, there's like a circular muddy area right there where people tend to park. He said that we could have that area. And Sarah True is Rebecca's wedding planner, because she goes back and forth. She lives a month with us and a month in California. So she has a wedding planner. So, but
but anyway, so Keith said that would be what he could give us, because he doesn't want to cut the hay and he doesn't want that disturbed, and I respect that. So we just looked at it again, and we both feel that that's an adequate space for, it's just the ceremony will be there, and it would be from 4:30 to 5:30. We may, so there are a couple issues. We may serve like lemonade or something. I don't know if that is okay, just because, I don't know why. She just told me that. Sarah told me, Rebecca didn't tell me that. As a possibility, people may be thirsty or something. And also, so that's it. The other thing that I was thinking about was the parking. If we could use the front parking lot where the ice skating rink is, and then if we could line up cars where the parking for the community gardeners is, which is across from the gardens. We could line cars up, and also hopefully on Woodside Drive, and people will just walk over. My other daughter got married in the field 10, maybe 11 years ago, down the field, and it was wonderful. So that's another reason.
How many people were at that wedding?
About 200 people. We didn't have the ceremony. We only had the ceremony there.
Okay, so I know
Go
exactly
ahead.
where the spigot is.
Yeah.
Where's everybody standing?
They're not standing. They're going to sit.
It goes like this.
No. It's up further. It's right by the. It's it's not in any of that area that goes down. It's flat, and it's where the water spigot is.
You mean it's forward of that?
Forward.
It's right next to the community gardens, right?
Oh.
It's right next to that.
It's where the
Across the-
roundabout
the fellow
is.
that grew, that
Right.
grows these shrubs and tree. A native garden.
Yeah, I know where the native
Right.
garden is.
It's right in front of that. It's like an area where people turn around to get. They'll park down there, and then they'll turn around.
You're talking about the little upper loop of the path.
Right, exactly.
And so people would be seated in the middle of the upper loop.
Right. And
Okay.
we would be parallel. We would be parallel to the probably. I'm trying to think.
Are you facing
to
toward the
end
gardens?
of that bush garden.
Okay, so you're facing toward the garden.
So she would be facing.
No, the guests are
The guests
facing
would
toward the garden.
would be facing towards the woods,
Oh, okay.
and she would be facing towards the garden.
There's not parking there for 300 people. That's
In the whole
150. That's
area.
150 cars.
Okay,
Minimum.
Right, 150 cars. But do you think in the second spot with the cars parked in front of, we would have a couple people parking cars, but
What day of the week is this?
It's a Sunday. That's Saturday, 4:30 to 5:30.
At what time of year?
August 3rd.
There's an insurance
It's
issue
a
here
lot of
too.
cars. It's a huge amount of cars.
Definitely an insurance
Yeah.
issue.
You're gonna
It would be
have police
150
officers.
cars.
And where's the reception at your house?
Downtown.
Oh, okay. Buses.
Well, we were thinking about that.
I've been to weddings where where they do buses.
We were thinking about that, but I was
Cars, I
thinking,
think, would be impossible,
Yeah.
traffic jam.
you think the parking would not work?
I don't think it would.
Because the other
Plus
people-
you'd have
I
to
think
have
it's a problem.
police for
Police.
that.
Right.
I mean, the best option is probably parking at the church and having the
Busing
shuttle
people.
bus back and forth.
Get permission.
You're never gonna get the
Right.
cars,
Yeah.
that road isn't too narrow anyway, so between where the skating rink
Yeah.
is, and then probably for the next couple of 100 yards, you're not gonna be able to park cars because it's so narrow and it's wetlands.
Right. You could probably
then you've
pay a
got-
small rent to one of the houses of worship, just like you're saying, and
Right.
let people park and then use buses.
Or at the high school.
Right, I was thinking of the high school.
Because it is way too narrow for that many cars.
There's no, yeah, and then it'd be unsafe, people walking between there all the way up. I just don't see how you get the cars there. It's gonna be a safety hazard all up and down Beecher and onto,
Right.
Right, well, I was
Woodside.
thinking about Woodside. We live on Woodside.
Okay, yeah, but then your neighbors and, I mean, it's
Then you have
We could
It's an
ask
issue.
our neighbors.
It's an issue,
And we
right.
could, and Lois and Marion are those those other
I just know
roads.
you cannot put 150 cars in that parking lot
And I think
safely.
from a liability point of view for the town to have the cars going in and out, I think it would be
Yeah.
pretty dangerous for us
Yeah.
to,
Because other people will be there.
yes.
I don't have an
Right.
issue with having the wedding there, I just,
Right, I don't either.
having all those cars there, plus it'd be a public safety nightmare, I would think. You have people crossing the street,
Right.
people walking up along the side of the road
Right.
next to the
So
cars.
maybe we could even use I think the high school is a good idea.
High school or
And we
some
could have
churches close by.
hire a bus to bring people back and forth from the high school.
Probably be about as expensive as it would cost for police to do the,
Probably could use Assumption at 4:30 on a
Saturday afternoon.
oh, it's a Saturday, yeah, the high school would be a better, yeah, 5 o'clock max.
Oh, yeah, the high, so you think that would be,
But you have to, but you'd have to negotiate that with, I mean, we,
Amity.
Right.
the Amity system.
Amity.
Board of Education, I guess.
oh, okay.
You'd have to
And
negotiate
who do I
that.
speak to?
You're a former board of Ed,
You'd
Superintendent?
probably call it, they'd probably.
Superintendent's
You'd have to call the
Yeah.
superintendent's office.
Superintendent. The other thing we were thinking is most people will be in downtown New Haven, in hotels in downtown New Haven. We could hire a school bus from there.
And bring everybody up that way.
even better. Yeah. And how are people getting the chair? They're going to bring the chairs in, or?
We have we're hiring a company
Okay.
who will, I don't think they'll set up the chairs, but they'll bring the chairs there.
Mhm.
But we have people that we can hire to set up the chairs and put them down.
Okay. Alrighty.
Okay, so is that good?
Okay. The other thing was an insurance.
Insurance. You'll have
rider.
insurance, yeah.
Okay.
So we should get an insurance rider?
A liability insurance policy for that one event and send it
Right.
to Tony so he can
Yeah,
approve.
or you can send it to Jerry and she'll forward it to me.
Okay.
Yeah, you can get it back
Okay.
policy.
I do have, we were working on that, and with our, it's a one-day
Right.
One-day event.
event.
Correct,
And
yeah.
we did that, we were going to do that with our own insurance
Yes.
Yeah, that's
company.
usual the way it works, yeah.
And,
But in this situation, you have to name the town
As an additional insured, right.
An additional insured, because that's town property. So we're protecting ourselves
I see.
from somebody who has
So
a
not
little
only
too
we
much
insure, but
lemonade.
the town
Insuring
is
us
insured.
Right,
also,
so
right.
it would probably be $1 million policy
Right,
Right.
with the town of Woodbridge as an additional insured.
okay, okay, okay.
We're happy to work with you on this.
Right.
But
Oh,
great.
You know,
We wanna
my
make this
sense
work.
is, my sense is.
Absolutely.
But it's a
We
local
really want to
thing.
make this work. for
But
you.
you have some issues, I think, that have to be
Yeah.
figured out.
Yeah. Okay,
Yeah, as
so-
long as the parking's off-site, I don't have a problem with it.
Okay,
And it makes it a lot
Is that a
easier.
motion?
Sure.
Okay.
If the parking's off-site and we have a $1 million liability policy naming the town of Woodbridge as an additional insured and working with the town to set it up, then I have no issue with that.
And you have the lessee's permission, Mr.
Arnold. Right.
yes, we do.
It would be good if he could send a letter to
Yeah, that'd be
Jerry
good, yeah.
saying that he
Just
consents to
confirming.
that event.
Sure. I don't know if he would do that. Only because you can't even get him on the phone. He never answers, he never calls you back.
Well, go up and see.
So, I can try.
I think, well, your husband was with him the other day, so maybe.
My husband, he's there in person, because he's mowing the lawns on Woodside Drive.
Maybe you can draft a letter
Draft
go
it,
and
take it to him, have him sign it.
Yeah, I
right
can do
away.
that. I can do
Just
that.
Basically, I have no objection to the client using the property identified as for a one-day
Perfect.
event on it.
I don't know what
August
I don't know what the rules are off the top of my head about alcohol on town property.
We're not
Or-
gonna.
No
Or
alcohol.
whatever they are, you have to follow.
No, we're not having
Can't.
it.
Okay, fine.
And the lemonade
Yeah,
is
good.
probably okay as long as.
Yes.
Lemonade's okay.
So just amend the motion to say no alcohol.
Okay.
Just to follow town rules, right?
Okay. Gets
Owner
complicated,
consent, town
sorry.
rule, owner consent, town rules, no vehicles, insurance.
And
And insurance.
Great. Right.
So
Okay.
I have a question about
Sure.
the vendor who will furnish the chairs.
Yes.
How far ahead of time will they be delivered and how quickly afterward will they be picked up?
I don't know that. I don't know that
300 chairs,
question.
that's another big.
I mean, we can pick them up right after and bring them to our house, if that's what, our house is like 2 seconds away from the garden, if that is what you would want. work Saturday evening. And I know with my other daughter, and I don't think they work Sunday. The tent came down on, we did it at the Darling House, her wedding, and the tent came down on Monday.
You're not having a tent, correct?
Pardon?
You're not having a tent,
No,
correct?
this is
Okay.
just an hour
Gotcha.
ceremony.
Okay.
And umbrellas if it rains,
Okay.
no tent.
Okay, so I guess,
Well,
you
then
have that
every-
motion, you want me to repeat it?
Within 24
So
hours.
I guess the motion would be that we give permission for the wedding on that date,
August 3rd.
providing the town gets named as an additional insured on a liability, $1 million liability policy. Parking's off-site, no alcohol, and you'd be responsible for moving any trash or garbage that's
Sure.
And the chairs within
chairs.
24
And-
hours.
On and
The
off.
chairs
Want the
within-
chairs removed by that evening?
That would be my preference to have the property.
I think that would be a good idea, because people will be walking the next morning.
Okay.
And Mr. Arnold's consent. I don't know if you said it.
Yeah, and with the consent of Keith Arnold, right.
They will.
Which sounds like we already
Oh,
have, but,
they said that they'll pick them up that night.
Good.
did you get that, Jared? Did I?
Yep.
Okay, so that's my motion.
All right. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Have a wonderful time.
Thank you, thank you.
Have a
Yes.
wonderful wedding.
That's okay, I'll take it.
Oh, okay. Thank you, Chip.
Okay. And I guess we'll, should we do public comment
Yeah.
before we do
Yes.
just because it's
You have to,
7:04?
right.
Okay. So we will jump to public comment. Are there any members of the public who wish to speak? Okay. So I guess not. Hearing none. We will jump back to item 5, Anthem Health Insurance Renewal. Mr. Luciani. Is he here? Yep, he's here. Good evening.
Good evening. How are you?
Great.
I have, always good to deliver good news.
Save some money.
Something like that, yeah. To give you the Reader's Digest version, the renewal this year, after negotiations, came in at 3.66%. And to some degree, it's actually lower than that because it doesn't reflect the renegotiation of the Board of Ed plan that we did that will go into effect in July in 2013, which saves significantly more than what the increase was. So in terms of overall budget, it'll be below what it was last year. We went out to bid as always this year. We had some potentially willing bidders when the initial renewal was somewhere in the 9% range. But the second we got below 5%, neither Cigna, Aetna, Connecticut, nor Oxford seemed to have any interest in it. The likelihood that they would have beaten that by enough percentage points for us to essentially redo the contract was pretty nil. So after some negotiation, we settled on 3.66%, which I think this year is fantastic. And by Anthem's own account, most of that increase really was just them passing on some minor costs from the PPACA reform that they were building into their renewal. I want to make a couple of notes because I know this is the first time I think some of you have been listening to me do the renewal, but with Tony's help and Alpulo's help, and this may sound unusual, but our rates now for 2013 in July will actually be lower than they were in 2009. And we've renegotiated some plans, and with Tony's help, we put in this great product called the Health Reimbursement Arrangement for the town that is working very well for us and allows us to reap the benefits of lower rates and take on a little bit more risk. It's a small step instead of going all the way to self-funding, to take a little bit more risk, and it's worked wonderfully. We have the same thing to some degree set up on the Board of Ed side, although not as widespread on their end. And things have been going very well. We review the claims every month. We've had 2 good years of trend. That's really it. It's good news. I mean, usually when there's bad news, I have more to say, but it's running very well.
I handed out in their package the which is a brief two-page summary of the, just some of the impact of the, what was it, the
PPACA.
PPACA, right?
Yeah, that's actually an anthem piece that Tony handed out that goes over the taxes and fees that apply, most of them to some degree implemented sometime in 2014. It tells you who ends up actually paying the fees and to some degree how it affects plans and plan design. But the reality is most of them are simply passed along, the medical device tax and things like that. And the only direct anthem fees that you see in there are what's now known as the PCORI fee, which is roughly $2 per covered employee. And they have some reinsurer fees. Anthem estimates that the overall cost of the fees is about anywhere between 3.75% and 4.25%, which is right where our renewal fell, basically. So, the last item there that I'm sure some people would have some concern about is the Cadillac tax, which begins in 2018. Those figures are going to be indexed and adjusted for inflation. As it stands today, we're nowhere near that number due to some renegotiation.
Right.
So I feel strongly that we can avoid doing that, and we still have a few opportunities if we wanted to expand what we do with the HRA in future years for future contracts. We can avoid that, what would be a devastating 40% tax.
How long is this increase?
We're good till July of 2014.
So it's a year.
Yeah.
And what did we think it was going to be? What did we budget for?
Well, we made an adjustment. We were originally at 9%, and then we were at 6% for the budget hearing.
Right.
And we made an adjustment at the last Board of Finance meeting to drop it to 3.66%.
Because you knew this.
Because we knew this, right?
Okay.
So that'll be at the town meeting.
Okay. But we've been working with a 6% number.
Correct.
Right.
Our budget documents have been working with a 6% number, correct?
Right.
That's a good thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's all.
Lawrence or Tom, do you have any
No,
questions?
great, good job.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Next item, receive application for neighborhood assistance 2013 program. And in your packet is multiple applications, and I guess we have to schedule a public hearing. Do you want me to read them off quickly as to what they are? We don't need to. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay.
If you wanted to just,
Several of them are the Amity Teen Center.
what their program title is.
Yep, okay, the Amity Teen Center Energy Conservation Program for $25,000. Amity Teen Center Teens Making a Difference Program for $20,000. Amity Teen Center Teen Performing and Visual Arts Program for $15,000. The Jewish Federation of Greater New Haven for Food for Kids, $10,000. Jewish Community Center of Greater New Haven, solar-powered LED outdoor display, $24,000. Jewish Community Center of Greater New Haven, scholarships for daycare participants, $35,000. And the Jewish Community Center of Greater New Haven, scholarships for after-school participants, $24,000. Wow. Jewish Community Center of Greater New Haven, scholarships for day camp participants, $30,000. And Jewish Federation of Greater New Haven, special needs program, $40,000. Jewish Community Center of Greater New Haven, healthy snack subsidy for after-school program participants, $15,000.
Bingo.
Yep,
You got it.
that's it. So, as is the policy, I guess we have to set a date for public hearing on this, and our recommendation is that the next Board of Selectmen, the regular board, well, there's another meeting in 2 weeks,
The
but.
June meeting is fine.
So we're gonna go with the June 12th, 2013 meeting, if that's okay. So I guess I need a motion to do that.
I would move we
Thank you.
set June 12th, 2013 for a public hearing on the neighborhood assistance program applications received this evening.
Thank you.
Second.
Okay. All in favor? Aye. Okay. Thank you. Okay, and now we move on to Director of Finance and
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you. I have your report here for the, through the month of April. And the report is a budgetary surplus of about $232,000 for the end of the fiscal year. That would leave our fund balance at $4.76 million, or 10.54% of our annual budget. And some highlights for you. We actually had some, this past month, a few large back tax collections that were paid. One of which was the subject of some legal costs and some litigation, which we were reimbursed for also, going back quite a while. So the tax revenue is actually projected to generate a surplus of about $130,000, primarily as a result of these collections. As we've discussed in the past, the intergovernmental revenue should receive a surplus of about $50,000 due to the revenue sharing grant surplus we received earlier in the year. In departmental revenues, we have a shortfall of about $62,000. There are several line items here that are going to generate a surplus, those being the conveyance fees and town clerk fees, a slight surplus, maybe $10,000 each. Transfer station fees are also in building permits. We do have a deficit projected is a shortfall in golf revenues. Last month we were at $75,000 shortfall. This month it's projected at $125,000, primarily due to an April that was not met with the expectations that were originally generated by the forms and the projections that were made. The weather-wise, right?
Yeah.
The last couple of weeks, however, have been better than anticipated, weather-wise and also traffic-wise. So the hope is that if we continue to have a good month in May, that we'll catch back up to where we were.
Okay.
So we'll keep you informed of that as we go along. And those are the revenue highlights. Expenditures, Amity, as we discussed, has a surplus of $85,000. And waste management will have a surplus of about $40,000 due to reduced tonnage. We did receive approval from FEMA of $309,000 for cleanup for Hurricane Sandy. We discussed that previously. So that's $217,000 for public works, debris cleanup mostly, $69,000 for public safety, $23,000 for volunteer services, most of which were from the fire department. We did have our kickoff meeting with FEMA for reimbursement for Storm Nemo. That was the blizzard that we had all experienced in February. And we do have a 75% reimbursement of all eligible expenditures for a 72-hour period of our choice, which will probably be Sunday, starting on Sunday. And we look for the 72-hour period where we can capture the most, not only overtime for town staff, but also private contractors. So most of the reimbursements for this storm will be in snow removal. There will be very little for public safety. It's only to the extent that it was related to the storm event. I mean, if somebody from public safety was, because of the storm, had to participate in a rescue or something. So we're doing that, and we have, I think, 6 weeks from the kickoff meeting, which was a few weeks ago, or last week, I think.
Last week.
Right. So we anticipate that by the mid-June. Yeah. It's an
interesting process.
It is, right.
What's our percentage of the Amity surplus?
Pardon?
What's our percentage?
That's the town share.
Oh, this is our share?
Just with this Amity?
Yeah.
This is for the town.
Ooh,
Yeah.
well, I can't.
Yeah.
Okay.
So those are our highlights. And
Thank you.
is there any questions? Okay.
I guess we'll move on to tax refunds. There are no personal property refunds and there are no real estate refunds. There are motor vehicle refunds totaling $496.51. So I would entertain a motion to that effect to refund $496.51.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. And
Okay. The first funding request is to transfer $1,500 of a $3,000 donation from the Bethwood Baseball League to budget for the purchase of clay. The remaining $1,500, as you recall during our budget process, will be transferred next year for expenses related to the tournaments that take place in August, namely the overtime and porta potty rental.
So this is overtime for town employees?
Correct. Yeah, but that's in August, so we have to wait till next year to transfer the funds.
Right, but some of the funds donated go to pay town expenses.
Correct. Right.
I think people don't
And half of
understand
it
that.
will, and half of it goes for clay.
Right,
As
right.
Adam sees fit for.
Right, but they're also helping to offset the cost of the
Absolutely.
town, of the employees that are putting down the clay and doing the line.
Absolutely, there's work on Saturdays and Sundays that takes place, right?
Okay.
That's good. So I'd entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Next line item
Okay.
transfer.
The next involves the center building, and if you remember earlier in the year, we transferred money from our oil accounts to cover the natural gas conversion based on where we thought when we thought the conversion would take place and how much we would save, et cetera, et cetera. In the center building, we do need some funds to pay for gas, and part of that will come from the oil account itself. The other part would be from contingency, namely because there wasn't enough in the oil account to cover the conversion as we
That's the
initially
second,
thought. That's the second one, right? Yeah.
Okay.
So take one at a time, but that's
Okay.
good. They're both involved.
Okay, so I'd entertain a motion to approve line item transfer number 1213-31 in the amount of $2,700. I'll
So
make that
moved.
motion. Oops, okay. Lawrence?
Second.
Okay, thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Next funding request number 1213-32 in the amount of $9,300.
This is the second half
Part.
of that, right?
So I'd entertain a motion to approve funding request number 1213-32 in the amount of $9,300
So
from
moved.
contingency to center building.
Second.
Okay. All in favor? Okay, thank you. Next funding request number 1213-33 in the amount of $20,200.
During the conversion process, we had transferred some funds from the fire department to pay for the conversion of that department also. That has not taken place yet due to some complexities of actually hooking up that equipment, and we plan on doing that this summer. So as a result, there were some funds transferred out of the heating oil account which need to be reimbursed essentially. And that's definitely a good portion of this transfer. The rest of it is just due to increased use of the building during the year.
We had multiple storms.
Multiple
yeah.
storms, it was used a lot,
Mhm.
and so.
Okay. So I'll entertain a motion to approve funding request number 1213-33 in the amount of $20,200.
So
I'll make
moved.
that. Okay, second.
Second.
Okay, thank you. All in favor? Aye. Thank you.
That's it.
Okay, and the emergency assistance fund.
This was an information request that we had discussed earlier about a resident who had suggested that we create a fund for expenditures related during emergencies.
Mhm.
You remember we had this discussion?
Vaguely remember this, yes.
And so
Right.
this was a CCM research,
Mhm.
and there were a few towns that have emergency funds for different types of needs for residents during storm events, Ridgefield and Lyme. We do have the food and fuel fund, however, and it's a well-run fund and works very well. And my suggestion is that you just use that fund,
Okay.
as I think it's administered very well. And it's an existing fund that we have all set up. So-
That's great. Okay.
Yeah.
So we don't need a motion for
No,
that.
that was an FYI.
Okay, thank you.
Could could I just ask, if I remember, this conversation began with a resident who suggested we consider something like this?
Correct.
Will this information get back to the resident, and maybe that resident then, because I know the food and fuel fund is replenished by fundraising events
Mhm.
during the year.
And we match it as well.
We do.
They have some
Right,
events,
but
sure.
if the resident who brought it to the board is
You have that
provided with this
information.
information and then put in
Sure.
contact with the human services.
Sure.
Sure, okay.
That's a good idea. Thank you. Okay, paving, reclamation.
Okay, Warren? So, there are two state contracts that we're going to be using. I'll let Warren speak a little more about them. One is for paving and one is for milling and reclamation.
Great. We're at the time of year again where we have to establish a program for proceeding for paving the roads, and the request was made to Tony to put it on the agenda for a waiver of bidding and use the vendor-in-place program for purchasing asphalt and the placement of that asphalt for our roads under the state contract. I think the contract number is provided in your packets. If not, we can give it to you.
I think you put it in the letter. Yeah.
The cost per ton for asphalt, Tilcon was the low vendor this year. And the cost per ton for us to purchase it is almost at the same price. So they're putting it in place for very little funds. The price that was quoted from the vendor and off of the bid award fluctuates with oil prices, so that can go up or down. There's an escalation clause built into the contract. So far, we haven't been hurt by that.
What kind of percentage is that, do you know?
It's based on the daily, every 15 days, the price may fluctuate, and there's a percentage on that they can only increment after the 15 days. So it's stabilized over that period, but between now and when we actually do the job,
Right.
there's a considerable variable.
Sure.
So I would have to adjust the program in accordance to what that pricing would be.
Up or down?
I have a quote, and the only thing that would affect that quote would be the escalation cost.
Right, so
Price
if-
for the asphalt based under the state contract would be, it's just a differential, that's all would be.
So how would we address that? Would we just do less if the price went up, or would we
Typically what we do is, if the price goes up, we have to make a judgment call at the time
as
of
to
the
what road,
application.
yeah, what we do, okay.
Yeah.
And as far as the no bid, so we have at least 2 contractors in town? So we're confident that they wouldn't be at least match or be below that?
Historically, because I run my first spreadsheet based on as if we're not using the VIP program.
Mhm.
And there is a significant savings in using the program, because realistically, if a vendor wanted to match that price, but by the time they get through, they're just running money through their books, is what the contractor's feedback to me was, because prevailing wage has to apply, and they're doing all of the work. So literally the contractor's not making any profit off of it. We benefit from that margin.
Sure.
by using the state program, because the manufacturer of the asphalt, basically they implement their savings because they're selling the product.
Okay.
There is a possibility that there's a contractor out there, if we wanted to go to bid, that might match or be slightly above the VIP program.
But it's your recommendation that we,
Well, the historical side of this, it's been
Okay.
proven by going with the VIP program that there is a benefit to the town.
We went out to bid last year.
Pardon me?
We went out to bid last year.
Okay.
And then compared it to the VIP program. And the VIP program was much cheaper than
Okay.
the bid process.
And really where the savings is that differential from the producer of the asphalt.
Because we're providing the
They're they're getting just a little mobilization fee for putting it down. It's unfair to the small contractor in reality, but they sell the product and we'd have to purchase it from a vendor
Right.
anyways.
We'd have to purchase the product from that Tilcon anyway.
Okay, I just want to make sure you took that into consideration. That's fine.
Okay, any other questions? Okay, then I'd entertain a motion to waive bids for we'll do this twice, right? Once we,
Yeah.
okay. Make a motion to, I would ask for a motion to waive the bids for asphalt paving and utilize the State of Connecticut contract award for asphalt product and placement this year.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. All in favor? Okay, it's unanimous. And then the next one is we need a motion to request a bid waiver for milling and reclaiming service and to utilize the State of Connecticut contract to procure the services of Garrity Asphalt Reclaiming.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Okay, it's unanimous. Thank you.
Thank you, Warren.
Okay.
Also in your package is the road list.
Oh, yes,
I
exactly.
included a proposed road list based on the state contract award
Right.
to schedule the roads, and I've worked up the detail. I couldn't go out several years because of the changes and adjustments based on these costs, but the projections I prepared, I'm working up to the third year, but I believe 2 years might be included in your packet. Do you want to discuss anything with the roads that are done?
They don't know, does anyone have any questions on that, or if you want to take a ride, or?
My street didn't make it again.
We'll get there someday.
Other than the fact that Bishop Drive is around there, is there anything, any other
No, other
questions?
than that. Maybe next year.
Okay, all right,
And
thank you.
we'll have this information for the election this year.
It goes up on the website.
Posted on the
so,
website.
Right, right, exactly. Okay, all right,
Looks
thank
good.
you. All right, now bid number 2012-07, container hauling services.
This is, last year we went out to bid for container hauling. We did a 2-year bid, and you all approved the 2-year bid last year. This is the second year in that bid. So,
So this is more just FYI,
Right.
because we've already approved it for 2 years.
right,
So we're halfway through it.
correct,
Yep.
yeah.
Yes.
I just thought I'd mention that.
Thank you. Okay, and now the next item on the agenda is bid number 2013-06, sale of used equipment and vehicles.
Okay?
Do you, Mr. Adalizzi?
We have a little,
Good evening, Joe.
Joe did a little, just a little note sheet here for you to follow based on the equipment. So every year, every other year probably, we put together a list of equipment that the town no longer has a use for, and we essentially go out to bid for individuals to purchase the items from us. And we had quite a list this year, as you can see. The most of which is doesn't really function. 2 highlights for you in that list. Halfway down the list, we thought we'd give it a shot and put on the shower trailer. That
Yes, the old fire department shower
The old
trailer?
fire department trailer.
Yeah, $100.
$100. Right. And the metal sculpture at the country club, which, as you may remember, was a discussion a year or so back.
Right, yeah, I think it was her
One of Alfred's
father.
father, right?
Made it, and
Yeah.
And she had requested that if she can.
And
Well, I
told
think
her
we just
put it
kind
on
of
bid,
put that
right?
out there, didn't we?
She
Because
could bid on it.
Yeah.
We told her we
to bid
couldn't
on
do
it
unless we had a
because
bid.
Right.
it was town property. We
Correct.
But we couldn't just give it away.
Correct, right. So we put it on this bid, and as you can see, that's the last one.
Sold bidder. That's a surprise.
Oh,
150.
150.
So what's going to happen with the trailer, shower trailer? Where is that?
What's that?
There was a significant, significant discussion about that today. There was a preliminary claim put on it today by the police department, who think that they may have a use for it. And it was to be discussed this afternoon between the assistant chief and the chief, as they are pressed hard over there for space. They have no room at all. Ray Stewart's opinion was is that perhaps it could be parked over there at the lot up against the bank and used for gun cleaning and some storage and whatever other things that they might have utilization for. We have electricity close by, so it would be a big deal to get some lights working in it. And probably take the porcelain wares out of it and just put down a plywood floor for now, or whatever they want to put on top of it. It could be made usable. It has no windows whatsoever, so that, with the exception of the doors. But that wouldn't be a big job either. But that was discussed this afternoon. Now, where that's going to go.
Well, that's preferable to $100.
It is, yeah, so
Sort of up to
we would
you.
recommend you don't
Yeah.
include that in your
Yeah.
We
discussion.
tried, I personally tried, and I'm not the only one, several of us tried. Craig tried. I went online to a large company that deals with specifically used construction equipment. They have a vast variety of different sorts of, in particular, office trailers. But because this would require so much work to make it into a practical office trailer, you have to strip everything in it, then have to rebuild the interior, you have to put windows in it, blah, blah, blah. And you can go out and buy one of those surplus for $5,000 ready to roll. So they're just not worth anything. We tried hard to sell it. I thought I would make a name for myself. Well, this is easy. I'll get rid of this thing. No, it didn't work.
It's too bad, 'cause it's a nice shower thing.
It is in good shape, yeah.
So as it stands right now, Mr. Stewart was going to discuss it with the chief
Right, you can get back.
and get back to us, and I have personally volunteered to Ray that if that doesn't work, we'll be more than glad to deliver it to his driveway for a small fee.
I have an point of information in the bidding.
Do what?
I just have a question. Some of these amounts are very odd.
Mhm.
How did like $111
They're all sealed bids.
and 62 cents?
I know.
So they were all sealed, and then we opened them all up.
I mean,
First of all, you have to see the input. You really do.
you mean I could have gotten it for $111.51?
Yes. but
Actually,
that's-
some of the bids were actually $1 over high bid.
Exactly.
I understand
yeah.
that. It's just there's some, well,
$20
there's no
over
explanation, there's no
high bid.
explanation
It's
for
just,
that.
it is what it is, and everybody plays games with a bid. Well, you know, if I add another dollar to this, or another $1.01, maybe I'll get it. And they won't.
Aha.
Right,
Okay.
they figure
It's-
maybe they'll get
it's
less, sort of
that-
like when you play it.
It's that cagey group out there. Okay.
So we do a sealed bid process, and then we open up all the bids.
Okay. All right.
Now, all of the equipment on here, without going through each piece, unless you happen to look at any of this, it's either surplus or it's old. For example, the first dump truck is a 1988, and despite the rust and rot and the problems that we have as a consequence of no storage down there at all, and by the way, I'm personally going to thank you all for your support with the new garage. That's a great thing. Anyway, getting back to this, that truck is, considering its age, has done very, very well. But now there's so much rust and rot. It's not just, you know, take that piece of angle iron out and replace it and fix this bolt over here. But the whole truck is shot. It's just plumb worn out and rusted out. Some of this equipment is newer than the others, but in terms of its overall condition, for whatever its operation through time, they're all pretty much the same. They're in bad shape. And on the bottom, you'll note a special note of that particular Dodge pickup truck. In order to avoid any liability, our recommendation is to allow us just to scrap it and be done with it, because it's potentially dangerous. The cab mounts that hold the cab onto the frame are literally rusted and rotted away. There's nothing that can be done to fix it.
Which one are you talking about?
The one on the very bottom, special note.
It's not listed on the bid list, right?
No, it came up
It's-
after.
Oh, I got you
Oh,
down
I'm
here.
sorry.
I got you, okay.
Yeah, if you've got, it's on this sheet
Yeah,
here.
the second, right, okay.
Should we be surprised that it's a 2000 vehicle and it's not beginning to sell it right now?
We have problems. If you look at some of the other makes that are on here, for example, the 1991 Chevy, that body is still, despite the fact that the truck is worn out, and yes, there is rust and rot deterioration. We could fix that truck and keep it on the road some more.
But this one
It's
you
not
can't.
worth it, but we could.
Right, no, right, no, I
The
see.
Dodge is just completely rusted out. It
Really?
was, like the old days, the difference between the Hondas rusting out and the Toyotas rusting out when they first came into this country. It's the same sort of condition.
The other thing that the board should be aware of, and Joe and a couple of mechanics worked very hard on this, in Sorensen's presentation earlier tonight, need to evacuate the area. These things are all taking up space down there.
Uh-huh.
So this is not only doing this, we're not getting a ton of money, but we're also getting rid of an awful lot of stuff that has no space to be parked anymore. So it's a plus.
That's a very significant item. I was going to mention that, but now that you did, amen. Yes, we do need to get rid of this stuff because we do desperately now need this space. In another 2 weeks, they're going to be going full board.
Well,
on their
anytime you
houses.
remodel, you have to clean out the closet. I totally understand that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So Joe, we couldn't just bury them with all that fill?
Oh dear.
Keep it up, neighbor, keep it up.
You want me to hit him?
Okay.
So what do you need from us, Tony?
So I
You just have to
guess
approve
a
this.
motion minus the $100,
Right.
so the total
Minus the
amount
trailer.
of this
Minus
would be an
the-
approval of $14,778.
Minus the shower trailer
Shower
and
trailer, we'll
the
approve
Dodge
all the
pickup
rest.
truck?
Bid number 2013-06, sale of used equipment, such vehicles in the amount of $14,778.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
No, you would
Do you need a
just,
motion to scrap
yes,
the Dodge?
please, and then
So I'll make a
No,
motion
no,
to
no,
scrap the
no.
Dodge, or is that part of the,
Just
no, we'll just
scrap it.
scrap it.
No.
Go ahead and scrap it.
okay, thank
Consider
you.
it done.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you all very much.
Thank you very much. Thanks
Thank
for
you.
coming out. Next item on the agenda is the update on the state budget.
Yeah, I thought maybe by now we would have an update on the state budget, so that's why we put it on there.
But we
Unless you
don't.
have an update, more of an update than I do. But we haven't gotten anything of substance back concerning municipal grants. Or where we
Yeah,
stand.
representatives from the legislative branch are going to meet with members of the executive branch Friday.
So that's part of the issue is that they make up their minds a lot after we have deadlines for our budget.
Budget, right.
So, if they cut anything significant, we're
It's a mess.
sort of stuck.
Some of what's discussed on Friday, I think, hinges on what happens later tonight. Anyway, it's a work in progress.
Okay.
All right, thank you. And the next item on the agenda is authorize first selectman to execute the agreement for the steep grant, $350,000 Public Works project.
Right.
And
That was handed out tonight, I think.
yeah, it just came.
Resolution
No, it's-
should be in
I have the resolution.
Oh, I have it. I do have it.
Would you like me to read the resolution? Should I do that?
Sure.
Yes.
Okay. Resolved that the first selectman of the town of Woodbridge be and hereby is authorized to sign the quote-unquote grant agreement for the steep grant in the amount of $350,000 between the town of Woodbridge and the state of Connecticut for improvements to the Public Works garage pending review by town council.
And Town council has reviewed it, and it just came in the other day, but keep in mind, this is a grant that the town received in 2002 for work to be done down in the back for remediation purposes and the construction of part of a new, of an addition to the Public Works facility. So Tony had to make some calls, talk to some people to make certain that the 2002 grant was going to be in effect in 2013, and the answer was
The answer was,
positive.
yes, resounding yes.
He actually spoke to the Secretary of OPM, Ben Barnes, and he worked it out. So this is fine and approved. You can approve it in its current form, and Ben can sign it.
So I'll entertain a motion to
So
that
moved.
effect. Second, anybody?
Second.
Thank you. All in favor?
There you go.
Thank you. Okay.
There you go.
And is there anything under other?
No, I'm all
No.
set.
Okay. fine. The next item on the as that comes around, please sign. And next item is report of the Personnel Committee, the mechanic position.
Right.
I did not bring my personnel stuff, so maybe you could do that for me.
Okay.
Thank you. I did attend, as did
Okay.
Tom. I'm new to the personnel.
We received applications for a mechanics position that we have open in town, and we received probably 20 to 25 applications. We had an interview panel of Joe Hellauer, myself, Warren Connors, and Joe Adalizzi, and our selection for the position is Paul Miller. Paul Miller is our recommendation. Comes from Bethany, and is a long history of mechanic, several companies. Comes very well qualified, has experience, and currently works at a facility that does all kinds of repairs, including fire apparatus, and has all his certifications and that we require, and also has a CDL, which is important because the mechanic sometimes fills in on plows when either we're down somebody or we have someone sick or injured or has to test something that has been fixed.
Okay, so it was unanimous. The recommendation of the Personnel Committee was to approve the hiring of Mr. Paul Miller?
Paul Miller, yes.
Okay. So I entertain a motion to that effect.
Well, I'm on the committee, well, you weren't there, so you can make the motion, I guess.
So moved.
Does it matter?
But can we,
No, it doesn't, you can do it.
doesn't matter,
We were
so
both there.
I'll make the motion, but
Okay.
can we vote? We have to wait till Susan gets back, don't we?
Yeah, we should wait for the
Okay.
full quorum.
All right, so we'll hold off. Just,
All right.
Okay.
okay, and then
That was
we're-
it.
Okay. And we'll just wait a minute, and then we have to go into executive session. So.
Now, in the executive session, I talked to Betsy and asked her to come tonight. Maybe she forgot about it.
She
Mention it to me.
Is she here?
No.
If she is not here, I would like to put this over to the
Who is
next.
this?
Betsy Quist.
Oh, that's
Betsy and I were in court pre-trial.
Wasn't in there?
Oh, I didn't.
This is
No,
one.
I looked at her doors.
No, it looks like it's locked.
Yeah.
This is one of the remaining 2 tax appeals that the town has. We have settled this in a pretrial with Judge LaCarrie, and Mr. Harrigan and his lawyer were also present. But the settlement is something that I wanted Betsy to present to the board in executive session and then go out and approve. Since she is not, I did talk to her and she probably forgot. Actually, I told her it was going to be on the agenda. So I would ask that we put this over to the next meeting. We still have some time. It's okay to make sure Betsy's here.
Sure.
And Susan, we have to approve the hiring of Paul Miller to the mechanics
I
position.
had bad timing, I'm sorry.
You
It's
just
all right.
missed.
It's all right.
Not a problem.
Okay.
It's okay, so.
I did look at it.
Okay,
catch the description?
so,
Yeah.
we just wanted to have the full board. Did we have a motion and a second, Jerry?
I think you,
Yep.
you make the
We
motion,
did.
I'll second
So,
it.
all in favor? Aye. Okay, thank you. No problem. Is there anything else under other, Jerry, the town council?
No, that's it.
Okay. And we will skip item 11, action on the matter, because we didn't discuss it. And next item is on the agenda is approval of the town clerk's report, correct?
You
So
got
we
it.
need a motion for that.
To accept it, I make that motion.
Second?
Second.
Second. Okay, thank you. All in favor?
All right.
Okay, now we get to the minutes, which are multiple. Okay, first item is, let's see, they're not listed, so I'll just go through them here. Board of Selectmen public hearing, ordinances revision, elderly tax relief on March 6, 2013. Motion to approve.
That's also establishing the country club of
I'm sorry, you're right, establishing the Country Club of Woodbridge Enterprise Fund on March 6, 2013. I need a motion to approve.
So moved.
And a second?
Second.
Okay. Are there any additions, corrections, changes? All in favor?
All right.
Thank you. Next item is the Woodbridge Board of Selectmen, I can't talk, special meeting, April 25th, 2013.
I would like to make one amendment to that.
Oh, okay.
Down under Paul Board of Selectmen meeting, down at the end there, I would like to say instead of caused by, due to.
Okay.
Is that all right?
purpose of said meeting is to fill a vacancy in the position of first selectman due to the death of first selectman Edward Mucci. Okay.
Okay, and I actually have one.
Should we do a motion and a second first?
And that also would be on the actual call that was signed. We would make that change and just initial it. Is that all right?
Yep.
Thank you.
Okay. So how about a motion?
So I'll make a
second,
motion.
And then we'll, anything else today? We'll make a motion and second? Anybody? I'll second it.
Okay, on page 2,
Yep.
call of the vote.
Yep.
The nomination of Ms. Heller to fill the vacancy of first selectman was unanimous. Oh, I'm sorry, it was unanimously approved. Never mind.
Okay. Okay, we have a motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Next minutes are Town of Woodbridge Joint Board of Finance and Board of Selectmen meeting minutes from Thursday, November 29th, 2012. Motion to approve?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Okay. Are there any changes, additions, corrections? No? Okay. All in favor? Aye. Thank you. Town of Woodbridge Joint Board of Finance, Board of Selectmen meeting minutes Tuesday, December 4th at 6 p.m. 2012, sorry. Motion to approve?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Thank you. Anybody have any additions, changes, corrections?
Nope.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Town of Woodbridge Joint Board of Finance, Board of Selectmen meeting minutes Thursday, January 24th, 2013. Motion to approve?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
I have to abstain. Everybody else okay with that? I wasn't there. Okay, thank you very much. Town of Woodbridge Joint Board of Finance, Board of Selectmen meeting minutes Tuesday, January 29th at 6 p.m. Motion to approve?
So moved.
Second? Anybody?
Awesome.
Oh, thank you. Okay. All in favor? Any changes or anything? Or
No.
okay. All in favor? I will abstain because I wasn't there.
Well, I will too because I wasn't there either.
Okay. We were doing surgeries at different times. Okay. So it's unanimous except for one exception. Thank you. Town of Woodbridge Joint Board of Finance, Board of Selectmen meeting minutes Thursday, January 31st at 6 p.m. Motion to approve?
So moved.
Second?
He said that.
Okay, sorry. Okay, thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Abstention.
I have to abstain as well. Okay, thank you. Yay, that was huge. Okay, and then next item in your packet is that we have a resignation from Alan Uffland from the Country Club of Woodbridge Commission. His letter states that he is relocated to Brantford, Connecticut, so thus cannot serve anymore. So I guess we'll accept his resignation. Do we need a motion to do so, or?
Yes.
Okay.
So moved.
Thank you.
Second.
Okay, thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
And we'll send him an appropriate letter thanking him for his time. Thank you. And the next item is another resignation, Garrett Luciani from the Economic Development Commission.
Move to accept.
Thank you.
Second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
And we'll send him the appropriate letter thanking him for his time. And then I believe under item 15, we have an appointment to the Economic Development Commission to June 13th, 2005. And
So that's 15.
15, sorry. Oh boy, I'm getting punchy. Are there any nominations?
I nominate Jamison J. Scott, whose resume is in our packet. He has been suggested to us by Jody Alon, who's chairing the commission, and she's anxious to get active and interested people on the commission, and I applaud her for that. And take a look at his resume. It looks like he's a local businessman, which of course is very important. And I think he would add a great deal.
Is there a second?
Second.
Are there any other nominations? Okay, this is a you replacing a you. And so I would ask for approval of this nomination.
Aye.
Okay, thank you. And Jerry, I guess you sent him a letter saying he's been approved and welcome to the
With all the packet.
fund. Okay, thank you. Now, my report. Oh boy. On Tuesday, April 30th, I attended the Public Works Facility groundbreaking ceremony. The event was very well attended, and we had a beautiful day. Ellie Shee joined us and actually put in the first shovel. It was lovely. Tomorrow, May 9th at 2 o'clock, I'm going to be presenting the Woodbridge First Selectmen's Youth Award to Max Ritchie, the annual Human Services Volunteer Tea. This event also honors several other outstanding honorees for the award. Human Services will also be giving much deserved recognition to several volunteers. It's promised to be a wonderful afternoon, and I think there are something like 135 honorees. It's an incredible testimony to service in this town.
And your award to Mr. Ritchie is also AKA President Lincoln.
This
He
is
served
correct.
as
I'll be
President
talking
Lincoln
about
in
that
our-
tomorrow, right?
Yes,
Yep.
ma'am.
Yep, exactly. Very exciting. Our annual town meeting, which we just signed the call to, is going to be held Monday, May 20th at 7:30 p.m., more for the audience rather than us, if anyone would like to come, at the Center Gym. On Monday, April 29th, I did attend the Board of Fire Commissioners' regular meeting. The commissioners reviewed the budget. They have been watching it very closely. As the past year's storms, incident responses have depleted several line items. They're trying to move money around as much as they can and find funding. Some hopefully will get more reimbursement from FEMA regarding the hurricane. No, it wasn't a hurricane, it was a snowstorm, Nemo. Chief Rowland reported that all reports have been submitted to the state. He also updated the commission on the percentage of fire calls that members have made, noting the commitment is very high. Of note is that 4 members have made 60% of calls, 7 members have made 50 to 60%, 11 have made between 40 and 50%, and the rest have made between 20 and 40%. For a volunteer department, these numbers are very, very good, very impressive. On Saturday, May 5th, I attended the annual installation of the officers and dinner at for the Woodbridge Volunteer Fire Association. It was a wonderful evening. And as part of the evening, they try to put together a video of everything that has happened to the department over the past year, what they've done. And this year it was an absolutely beautiful video, and I suggested to them that they get it over to PUA, and perhaps we can get it on the town website. So that will be coming, heads up, and so the townspeople can see what has happened.
Excuse me.
Yes.
Is there a
Sure.
chance? Is there a chance they might show it at one of these meetings? Is that how long does it run?
I don't think it's a problem. How long was it? It was
45 minutes.
How long?
It's kind
I'm
of
sorry. I withdraw.
Yeah.
I withdraw.
How long was it?
I bet you they
Channel
give you they
79.
see, but if you want to watch it will be up on Gad Fox, Channel 79. And I bet there'll be a copy probably at the library, because she
Yes.
does tend to do that for
Yeah.
folks who don't get that channel. I must tell you that Fire Marshal Capucci gave the commission a 5-page report of all of his initial inspections. It was very impressive. He chose to begin with choosing the businesses where there would be the largest loss of life should a fire incident occur, so that was a good choice. He is working his 28 full hours, noting that Woodbridge has over 400 businesses in town, but he has begun in earnest, and it's very exciting.
Very good to see.
Yep, good start. I would also invite you all to participate in the annual 2013 American Heart Association Annual Heart Walk. It's in your packet. There's a copy in the other materials. This year, the Woodbridge team is going to walk in memory of Ed Sheehy. The event is on Saturday, June 1st, if anyone else is interested. At 10 a.m. is registration, walk at 11 at the Savin Rock, and you can contact Mary Ellen LaRocca for further information. And that's all I have, other than just the Connecticut DOT project. Maybe you want to
Yeah,
talk about that.
Sure, just
update them
briefly,
on
yeah.
that.
The, Ed and Warren and I met with the DOT, and they are beginning a project of rehabbing a bridge on Route 15 because it's located in Woodbridge. We were informed of it, which is why we're letting you know. But it's actually on Route 15 over Racebrook, and the construction is beginning in spring of 2015 and take about 9 months. So that part of Route 15 will be under construction at that time. So if you take Route 15 over Racebrook,
Heads up.
heads up, right?
9 months of
To be distinguished from the Merritt Avenue Bridge.
Right.
Oh, yes.
Which we're hoping will be going out to bid shortly. I was either end of this month or probably beginning of next month.
Wonderful.
That distinction.
Yeah, right. Okay, good thinking.
That's so good. And I do have one other item under other. Did they get a copy of the
Yes.
the memo? Okay. And we received an email yesterday from Amanda Cleveland, who is someone who's handling the Murray Lender estate, and stating that the estate wishes to donate 2 cannons to the town. You have photos of them in your packet. I guess they're replicas. They're not.
They're replicas.
Right. They're not real cannons. And a suggestion had been made that perhaps we put them in front of the library near the Stoddard Stone.
Yes.
But my thought is that we refer this to Coopop, I guess, but I just wanted to bring it to your attention and ask you what you thought about that. Coopop. Commission for their recommendation for asking them to get back to us, or what do you think?
I think that's an excellent idea.
Okay, so I'd entertain a motion to refer this to Coopop for.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. All in favor? Thank you. And that's all I have. Now I will call on Mr. Hillauer,
Yes,
who's
ma'am.
been a big help to me, as has Mrs. Shaw over the last couple of weeks. Thank you, as well as Mr. Weiner.
Thank you.
Well, what is Tony, Chuck River?
No.
I can't even, there were no words. I was going to do something at the end, thank you, but anyway, he's been absolutely.
I couldn't resist.
He's
That's all
been
right.
more than tough. He's been wonderful. Everybody's been great. I just, I was going to do a little thank you at the end, but thank you. Okay.
All right, I have a couple of items.
Consider yourself thanked ahead of time.
The Memorial Day ceremony will be held on May the 27th, Monday the 27th. Captain Barry Joseph, of the United States Army Service and a Vietnam veteran, is going to be the chairman. I had the good fortune to be out of town in St. Louis at the graduation from high school of one of my grandsons, so I will not be able to do it. But I will be doing the script and all the organization and working with William, who's done this for us, the logistics. I don't anticipate that the turnout is going to be as great as it used to be, because unfortunately our VFW lost its charter, and they are now merged with Bethany. So you'll see stuff in the paper that says Bethany Woodbridge VFW thing, and it'll be held at their big park over off Route 42. So that's going to take some of the populace away. I discussed it with Ed a few weeks ago, and he said, even though it was a VFW thing, we, the town, have been doing it for a number of years. He said, I'd like to see you try it a couple more times and see how it goes. So if we get a turnout that makes it worthwhile, we'll continue. If we get 5 people, it's probably not worth the effort. But we do have a couple of things that are different. Frank Calistro, who is normally our trumpeter, will be able to do taps, and there's an opening thing to sound the call. But he can't do the big ones like the Star Spangled Banner and God Bless America. So what I've done is contacted Kathy Barkin, whom some of you are familiar with. She's got a beautiful voice. She's sung at a couple of the installations for our select persons. And Kathy is going to make two separate speaks, or
Song.
2 separate songs. She'll do
Musical performances.
Thank you, ma'am. Musical performances.
Right.
First will be the Star Spangled Banner in the mid part of the program, God Bless America towards the end of the program. So that should work out well. And Reverend Sarah's going to be our chaplain to do the benediction, so it should be a nice thing, and hopefully get good weather on that. So you're all invited to it. As I say, I don't anticipate we're going to have anywhere near the turnout, because the 27th is a holiday. We're not going to get the support out of Beecher that we do, and so forth. So that's that. Our friends at DEEP, Tony and I were supposed to be at a meeting on the 22nd of April, which we managed to get out of. And we had representation there. They have submitted yet a 3rd request for a lot of information. We are working with our consultants on it. That report is due in Hartford on the 4th of June. We anticipate it'll be probably a month before they resolve it, one way or the other. It's much larger than the first 2. We had a 10-question one in September, which they gave us 3 days to do. We got it done. Then they went to 26 questions. We got that one in on 10. This one is merciless, but we'll get it done.
And what's the subject?
Microgrid.
Microgrid. And they're tying clean energy to microgrid. And Ed had signed the the clean energy program quite a while ago. And And we had the UNH kids do the survey here with all of our buildings, which we got some good press on. Sandy Stein's been involved in some of this, so they're now piggybacking the two. But I think there's only 2 towns, ourselves and Winstead, I believe, and so far we're doing fine. So that's the best I can do to keep you posted.
Yeah, good, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Tom?
No report tonight.
Okay, and Florence?
I missed the Woodbridge Board of Education meeting last month. The Recreation Commission met on Monday the 29th, and the most notable thing was a new field request for an unofficial summer lacrosse program. It's they refer to it as captain's practices ahead of it's part of the Amity lacrosse program, but it's during the summer season when no coaches are permitted to be part of it. Anyway, what came up over and over again was that there just wasn't field space for it. And that is a recurring theme for those commissioners, that they don't have the fields to accommodate all the requests. Otherwise, the recreation department is working toward the start of its camp. That's its big season, you might say, and everything else seems to be running smoothly.
Thank you. Susan?
Library's gonna meet next week. I just wanna say that, very quickly, that this has been an extraordinary 2.5 weeks for this community. And, it's amazing how everyone has behaved. And I just wanna say I'm very proud to be a part of this community. It's really an extraordinary group of people.
Agreed.
I'm going to swallow now. Thank you,
I know.
Susan. Okay. And again, I want to thank everybody at Town Hall, especially Tony and Joe and Terry, and just everybody's been so wonderful. And we are a family in this town, and we have all rallied together. So thank you to everyone. And is there any other business to be added to the agenda? And a motion to adjourn?
So, second.
Thank you. All in favor?
It's non-debatable.
Thank you.
Done.